Exclusive contract from Feilu Novel Network Novel. Global Cataclysm. I am stable and upgrading in shelter. Cataclysm day has descended, core monsters surge out from underground, solar flares erupt, cold currents freeze the world, prehistoric giants reappear, extraterrestrial creatures descend, and the 365-day terrifying scene of the end of glaciers and the extinction of dinosaurs is about to reappear. Yi Xiu travels through this parallel world and faces 7 days of catastrophic evolution. Fortunately, he activated the system, opened his own shelter system and self-strengthening ability, allowing for unlimited upgrades and evolution. Iron door double layer iron door alloy iron door space cutting door bow and arrow launchers small machine guns storm Gatling particle laser cannons research base. Tanks, aircraft, submarines, unmanned reconnaissance aircraft, mechanical guards, satellite launch systems, nuclear power center storage room. When everyone was struggling to survive in the ruins of my city due to the evolution of the disaster, they realized that Yi Xiu had already remotely controlled drones to attack *** and came out to forage. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Global Disaster 365 Days. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A news report is now being broadcasted. According to research conducted by Chinese researchers, the solar spot is currently highly active, and there are still 21 days left until the eruption, which is likely to have a severe impact on the Earth's atmosphere. According to reports, the Earth's core in the deep Pacific Ocean continues to collide, leading to the extinction and death of a large number of marine organisms. United G has dispatched multiple fleets to investigate. According to relevant reports, a residential building in China was under construction when a sudden subsidence occurred, causing tens of thousands of square meters of collapsed area. Fortunately, no casualties were reported, and exploration has been blocked. China has successfully landed on the moon and brought back its surface soil, which is currently being studied by scientific experts. An asteroid is expected to collide with Earth within 50 days, and based on its volume survey, if correct, it will cause a devastating impact on Earth for the first time in millions of years. Within the development zone outside the Three Huai River in Huaihai City. Yi Xiu sat in the room, quietly listening to the news reports on TV. Mom is cooking. Dad sat on the sofa cross-legged reading the newspaper. Upon hearing these news, he smiled at Yi Xiu without looking up and said, "Look at the news now. 20 years ago, your father and I didn't even watch TV and still lived well. But now that technology is becoming more and more advanced, I realize that I'm afraid I'm dying faster and faster." The current reports, in his opinion, are becoming increasingly nonsensical. But Yi Xiu didn't smile, and even had a serious expression. Because he is very clear that this is true. I came to this parallel world 3 years ago. He bound the system, but the system has not been activated. He just told himself that on January 1, 2021, which is the beginning of the new year, a 365-day catastrophic evolution will occur globally. During this period, various unimaginable disasters will occur that humans cannot imagine. In this case, humans will also undergo a new evolution. However, the first step to successful evolution is to be able to withstand the first wave of disaster liquidation. Otherwise, everything is just empty talk. And now, it's December 24, 2020. That is to say, there are still 7 days left until the evolution of the Great Cataclysm. After taking a sip of water, Yi Xiu stood up to leave. Dad Yi Xiaotian saw this scene, put down the newspaper, and asked, "Where are you going?" Yi Xiu put on his shoes and said, "I want to continue building my shelter." Upon hearing these words, Yi Xiaotian suddenly burst into laughter. This kid is always talking nonsense. Fortunately, there is a basement below here, let it be at its disposal, so he said, "Is the money enough?" "Your dad, I can still sponsor some for you." "No need. Yi Xiu waved his hand without looking back. Then I came downstairs. The basement downstairs is only 100 square meters and serves as a storage room. Almost every household here has it. Moreover, as it is a suburb, the housing prices are not too high, and in addition, there have been several collapsed areas here before. So it has led to a significant decrease in housing prices. Below the yard is the storage room. Yi Xiu, familiar with the road, got off the ground and pushed open the iron door. Then open another layer inside. That is the result of my daily excavation. It already covers nearly 50 square meters, but it is not considered sturdy. That's enough. Put down the nearby shovel. Yi Xiu secretly communicated with the system in his heart. The preliminary stage of the system has been completed and the shelter has been opened. The words fell abruptly. Just listen to the sound of the system. Ding, congratulations to the host for successfully activating this system and discovering their first refuge in life. Name: Yi Xiu. Shelter level: 0, area: 50 square meters. Original upgrade point: 100. For every 10 upgrade points consumed, you can double the area or upgrade various abilities and shelter facilities. Upon hearing these words, Yi Xiu immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Finally activated. If you don't activate the system before the Great Cataclysm, you probably won't be able to escape the first wave of liquidation. But now, activated, it has enough survival ability. Of course, he also looked at the properties of the shelter and understood it very well. Yi Xiu understood that this is a similar upgrade function in the game, which consumes upgrade points, can expand the area of the shelter and upgrade various facilities, but the key is how to obtain upgrade points. After all, the original upgrade point was only 10. So Yi Xiu secretly asked in his heart. How can I obtain upgrade points? Quickly, the system replied, after activating this system, you will receive 100 upgrade points for free every day, while other ways of obtaining them require hunting products from the Cataclysm period to obtain them. Hear the explanation. Yi Xiu already understands. The way to obtain upgrade points is to hunt monsters during the Cataclysm period. May I ask if the host wants to expand the area of the shelter? Yes. After thinking for a moment, Yi Xiu nodded and answered yes. After all, 50 square meters is too small for a family of 4 to live in. Ding, the host successfully used upgrade point 10 to double the area of the shelter, reaching 100 square meters. Shelter level: 1, shelter, level 1, area 100. Facility: 0, upgrade situation. The iron door has been upgraded to a double-layer iron door, and the surrounding walls have been upgraded to metal walls with a thickness of 3 centimeters. The overall usable area is up to 100 square meters. Received the title, Indestructible. As the upgrade is completed, Yi Xiu realized that the dilapidated mud shelter in front of him, which was originally only 1.8 meters high, 5 meters wide, and 10 meters long, had transformed into an all-metal high-level shelter in the next second. Nima, level 1 is just so high. End. Can we continue developing in the future? Yi Xiu looked around and found it to be very tight overall, with a metal-framed air outlet left, not afraid that the shelter would be too dull. And this metal material is also very special. The outside is made of metal, but the inside doesn't feel cold. If you live here, it would be very suitable. Of course, Yi Xiu also found that this place was very empty and needed various survival items during the disaster period. 3 things to do when reading. Read, collect, and reward. Chapter 2. Accelerate the completion of shelters. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hey, have you heard? A huge deep pit has been found in our collapsed community in Huaihai. Oh, really, how deep is it? I'm not sure, but we've surveyed 1 kilometer so far and haven't even reached the end yet. Oh, so deep. There shouldn't be any monsters inside. Don't talk nonsense. Really, recently many people have been rumoring that on January 1st, 2021, something very terrifying will happen. Isn't this a precursor? It's a bit scary when you say that. At the entrance of the supermarket, several staff members were chattering about what had happened this morning. Due to the collapse of tens of thousands of square meters in the community, it has caused some panic. Thinking back to the series of strange events that happened before, many people already have a bad premonition. Sister, check out. At this moment, the sound of Yi Xiu paying the bill rang out. The female staff member was taken aback when she saw that Yi Xiu had purchased so many instant noodles, cans, and even a few boxes of mineral water. It was rare for anyone to buy so many things. Why are you buying so many instant noodles or something? There are so many seeds. Isn't this a major disaster? I'll be more prepared to avoid starving to death in a while. Yi Xiu said half-jokingly. The little sister covered her mouth and burst out laughing. I think this little brother is really interesting, and I can't help but say, what nonsense. It's all just a joke. Don't take it seriously. Yi Xiu laughed heartily. So I moved the things onto the car. Then they continued to make crazy purchases. Almost all the items with a long shelf life in the supermarket were bought clean. It cost nearly 10,000 yuan. The female staff member was stunned and looked at Yi Xiu like a madman. This guy probably didn't really think that a major disaster was coming. But Yi Xiu doesn't mind. Let the hired truck drivers transport all the goods to their own homes. Others don't know, but he knows very well. Just now, the two women were chatting about a deep pit in an unfinished community that had collapsed by tens of thousands of square meters. It is indeed that fierce underground creatures will emerge from inside. That was the first wave of underground biological clearing attacks in the system records of the Great Cataclysm. Only by enduring this first wave can people truly embrace the first wave of evolution in meaning. But it's hard to say how many people can experience this first wave of evolution. As for why Yi Xiu didn't tell the senior management about this matter, he was very clear that if he spread these things, he would definitely be caught as a rumor. It's better to find a way to survive with himself and his family first. Go home. He asked his master to help move things. Dad and Mom are also here to help. Because Yi Xiu claimed that he wanted to build an underground secret base for his family. Of course, parents support it. So I won't think too much. After moving the things, Yi Huan moved the bed over again, including the sofa, chair, computer equipment, soil seeds, water and electricity connections, as well as water pipes and other essential items for daily life. He only breathed a sigh of relief after being busy until evening. Then he lay on the bed in the basement, taking a little breath. Feeling bored, I turned on my computer and started surfing the internet. However, unexpectedly, at this moment, almost all major platforms' news and headlines were filled with some disaster information. According to reliable sources, the news came from the Pacific Ocean as soon as possible, stating that a mysterious monster had been detected deep in the sea, and a ship had been sunk. Its whereabouts are currently unknown, but it has been hunted and killed by the powerful weapons of the M Army. It has now been transported back to China for research. If there are any achievements, M guarantees to share and announce them as soon as possible. Cities around the world have inexplicably seen a large number of collapsed areas, causing a large number of civilian casualties. Currently, the United Nations has held an emergency meeting with the continuous occurrence of strange events. Some cities have opened underground shelters for emergencies. Several pieces of news immediately sparked heated discussions. Sleeping trough, why haven't you been feeling peaceful lately? Shouldn't it be a major disaster really coming? There was no major disaster in 2012, will there be one in 2021? Lie down, hurry up and take refuge. These news have caused a small-scale panic. Obviously, more and more people are realizing that something is wrong. Even her younger sister Yi Xiaofei received the news. She ran down in a long dress and gossiped with Yi Xiu, saying, "Brother, brother, have you read the news? They are all saying that the end of the world is coming." Yi Xiaofei is 16 years old this year and is a very beautiful little girl. She is also Yi Xiu's closest sister, and of course, her parents. But this girl is usually quite innocent and curious about everything she sees. There's a saying that goes, curiosity kills cats. But he loves his sister very much. Seeing this, he turned his computer chair and smiled, "Don't worry, even if the end of the world comes, isn't it me?" Well, that's right too. Yi Xiaofei trusted her brother very much. In her opinion, his brother was the best. However, soon she realized that everything she had moved into the basement was missing. She was curious and asked, "Brother, where are the food and things to use?" "This is a storage room, not a shelter. Because the great cataclysm has not yet arrived and the interior is not yet perfect, he doesn't want anyone to know. If there are neighbors who come to grab it, it will be bad." So he laughed and said, "I'm hiding it. You don't have to worry, I'll give it to you in a few days." Yi Xiaofei, without doubt, ran to the bed and played with his tablet. And Yi Xiu took advantage of this time to start shopping crazily. Use JD. Because this thing is delivered the next day, it's faster. 3 things to do when reading. Read, collect, and reward. Chapter 3 Countdown to Cataclysm. 5th day. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The countdown to the Great Cataclysm is 5th day. Yi Xiu has almost completed the construction of the shelter. And it has also been upgraded twice in these 2 days. The shelter has been upgraded from the initial 100 square meters to 400 square meters. The double-layer iron door has been upgraded to an alloy password fingerprint door. It weighs thousands of pounds. Ordinary people cannot lift it at all, and can only enter by relying on fingerprint unlocking. As soon as this door closes. Unless it's a super terrifying tens of meters monster. Otherwise, it is absolutely impossible for a monster to be able to open up, even missiles may not be able to blow it up. Moreover, Yi Xiu was very clear that at the beginning, there were only some small guys, so this door was very safe. And it's not just the doors that have changed. The entire shelter has undergone a qualitative upgrade. The wall has been upgraded from 3 centimeters to 30 centimeters. The foundation has sunk by 10 meters. After the upgrade, the devices inside also have more functions. For example, the living room and bedroom partitions have been upgraded to 6 rooms, including a spacious living room, kitchen, and bathroom. The whole thing is a luxurious large flat. Of course, what satisfied Yi Xiu the most was. After upgrading, the shelter has expanded to include more research center bases. The initial area is 100 square meters, and there is already a mature automated manufacturing system platform. After entering, first scan and confirm, and only open the door of the research base after the identity is confirmed. For example, manufacturing weapons. This is what Yi Xiu currently needs the most, name. Research base. Level 0, researchable weapon projects and gun series. Bullet. Level 0. Required material. Pure iron 0.05 kilograms. Desert Eagle. Level 0. Required material. 1 kilogram pure iron. Unlocked weapons. RPK machine guns, Storm Gatling, Plasma handheld guns, and so on. Researchable technology military product series. Reconnaissance drone. Level 0, required material. 10 kilograms pure iron. Plastic. 1 kilogram, copper 1 kilogram. Gold. 0.001 kilograms, nuclear energy converter. Level 0. Required material. 50 kilograms pure iron. Copper 2 kilograms. Gold 0.002 kilograms. Unlocked technology products. Combat drones, nuclear drones, helicopters, fighter jets, tanks, submarines, warships, satellite equipment, and more unlocked technology. Ultra-modern technology. Portals, space gates, machine guards, mechs, super mechs, and so on. Just a brief glance, Yi Xiu was shocked. Because all the equipment inside is too comprehensive, looking around, it's just a small military weapon manufacturing room. If it spreads, it will definitely cause a sensation in the world because the scientific research products inside are too advanced. For example, the teleportation gates, space gates, and so on. Not even the highest level of technology currently available. But there are all of them here. And there are also robot guards, which is simply futuristic technology. Of course, Yi Xiu also noticed these details. Almost all raw materials are indispensable, and that is pure iron. So I want to obtain some defense weapons. Then there must be materials first, but some materials are difficult to handle. System, is there a way to obtain these materials? So after thinking about it, Yi Xiu asked the system from the bottom of his heart. And soon, the system replied, the host can use the upgrade point to upgrade synthetic energy crystals, which can replace all raw materials and directly provide manufacturing. Oh. Upon hearing this, Yi Xiu became interested and opened the exchange counter to take a look. It was discovered that an energy crystal requires some upgrade value. And an energy crystal can be exchanged for a pistol or 50 bullets. It's pretty good. So Yi Xiu decisively exchanged 2 points. Ding, congratulations to the host for successfully redeeming. As the words fall, Yi Xiu saw 2 transparent crystalline objects in front of him, flickering with colorful plasma sparks. They looked dazzling, but he also understood how much energy they contained. Yi Xiu threw it at the processing entrance. With a series of slight noises. About 20 seconds. Yi Xiu saw a brand new Desert Eagle and 50 bullets being tracked and delivered to him. Pick up the pistol and feel it a little. Well, it's pretty good. Yi Xiu was very satisfied that there was not enough space to shoot, so he did not intend to use it. But put it here first. Exchange 2 more energy crystals and manufacture a small unmanned reconnaissance aircraft. In the event of a major disaster, there will definitely be many communication equipment failures, and unmanned reconnaissance planes are an essential equipment for checking the external environment. And Yi Xiu also discovered the advantages of this drone. That's a brainwave chip. As long as it is placed near the forehead and sensed by brainwaves, it can be manipulated. In addition, this unmanned reconnaissance aircraft is very flexible, only 3 centimeters in size, almost comparable to a small bee. It should be noted that the highest level of technology nowadays does not often shrink drones to around 10 centimeters, and the advantage of drones is that the smaller the better, the less likely it is to be detected, and better reconnaissance. In addition, the power source is not commonly used electricity, but is converted into nuclear power by absorbing light energy, achieving the ability to almost never cut off power. So, this will be the most useful device for exploring the outside world during the Great Cataclysm. Feilu's novel, Fei wants you to look good. Update rule. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Sorry, the editor asked me to increase the word count. The author will update it as soon as possible. If anyone likes this type, I hope everyone can give me some tips and feedback. The author will work hard to update and I hope everyone can support me. We guarantee a minimum of 5 tickets per day. Add 1 chapter to every 3,000 flowers. 300 evaluation votes plus 1 chapter. 5 monthly tickets plus 1 chapter. 5 rewards plus 1 card. Up to 9 chapters per day. I hope there is support from those who like it. The author would like to thank everyone first. Cataclysm Day has descended, core monsters surge out from underground, solar flares erupt, cold currents freeze the world, prehistoric giants reappear, extraterrestrial creatures descend, and the 365-day terrifying scene of the end of glaciers and the extinction of dinosaurs is about to reappear. Yi Xiu travels through this parallel world and faces 7 days of catastrophic evolution. Fortunately, he activated the system, opened his own shelter system and self-strengthening ability, allowing for unlimited upgrades and evolution. Iron door double layer iron door alloy iron door space cutting door bow and arrow launchers small machine guns storm Gatling particle laser cannons research base. Tanks, aircraft, submarines, unmanned reconnaissance aircraft, mechanical guards, satellite launch systems, nuclear power center storage room. When everyone was struggling to survive in the ruins of my city due to the evolution of the disaster, they realized that Yi Xiu had already come out with tanks and drone attack groups to search for food. Cataclysm day has descended, core monsters surge out from underground, solar flares erupt, cold currents freeze the world, prehistoric giants reappear, extraterrestrial creatures descend, and the 365-day terrifying scene of the end of glaciers and the extinction of dinosaurs is about to reappear. Yi Xiu travels through this parallel world and faces 7 days of catastrophic evolution. Fortunately, he activated the system, opened his own shelter system and self-strengthening ability, allowing for unlimited upgrades and evolution. Iron door double layer iron door alloy iron door space cutting door bow and arrow launchers small machine guns storm Gatling particle laser cannons research base. Tanks, aircraft, submarines, unmanned reconnaissance aircraft, mechanical guards, satellite launch systems, nuclear power center storage room. When everyone was struggling to survive in the ruins of my city due to the evolution of the disaster, they realized that Yi Xiu had already come out with tanks and drone attack groups to search for food. Cataclysm day approaches, core monsters emerge from underground, solar flares erupt, cold currents freeze the world, prehistoric giants reappear, extraterrestrial creatures descend, and the 365-day terrifying scene of the end of glaciers and the extinction of dinosaurs is about to reappear. Yi Xiu travels through this parallel world and faces 7 days of catastrophic evolution. Fortunately, he activated the system, opened his own shelter system and self-strengthening ability, allowing for unlimited upgrades and evolution. Iron door double layer iron door alloy iron door space cutting door bow and arrow launchers small machine guns storm Gatling particle laser cannons research base. Tanks, aircraft, submarines, unmanned reconnaissance aircraft, mechanical guards, satellite launch systems, nuclear power center storage room. When everyone was struggling to survive in the ruins of my city due to the evolution of the disaster, they realized that Yi Xiu had already come out with tanks and drone attack groups to search for food. Cataclysm day approaches, core monsters emerge from underground, solar flares erupt, cold currents freeze the world, prehistoric giants reappear, extraterrestrial creatures descend, and the 365-day terrifying scene of the end of glaciers and the extinction of dinosaurs is about to reappear. Yi Xiu travels through this parallel world and faces 7 days of catastrophic evolution. Fortunately, he activated the system, opened his own shelter system and self-strengthening ability, allowing for unlimited upgrades and evolution. Iron door double layer iron door alloy iron door space cutting door bow and arrow launchers small machine guns storm Gatling particle laser cannons research base. Tanks, aircraft, submarines, unmanned reconnaissance aircraft, mechanical guards, satellite launch systems, nuclear power center storage room. When everyone was struggling to survive in the ruins of my city due to the evolution of the disaster, they realized that Yi Xiu had already come out with tanks and drone attack groups to search for food. Feilu's novel, Fei Wants You to Look Good. Chapter 4. Crisis and Global Panic, New Book Release Seeks Flowers, Review Tickets. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this moment, the voice of my father Yi Xiaotian suddenly sounded outside. Xiao Xiu, come out quickly. Upon hearing the commotion, Yi Xiu didn't understand the situation, but he quickly closed the shelter and walked out. As soon as I walked out, I arrived at the storage room at the corner. I saw my father anxiously holding a backpack and quickly saying, "Xiao Xiu, hurry up. Where are the things I bought a few days ago? Take them all out, let's get ready to move." As he spoke, he began to search for things in the storage room. Yi Xiu frowned and said, "What's wrong, Dad?" "Just now the government notified everyone to prepare to take refuge in the shelter. It seems that something is really going to happen." "Oh, so fast." Upon hearing these words, Yi Xiu was somewhat surprised. "In theory, there are still 5 days left. I didn't expect the senior management to notice so quickly now. However, this is also natural. After all, a country's security system is already too strong, and it is naturally well prepared for various unexpected disasters. But this is not an ordinary minor disaster, but rather a terrifying disaster that could almost destroy the world. So, this is a very correct decision. However, even so, he still feels that his place is safer compared to a national shelter." "Xiao Xiu, what are you still doing in a daze? Come with Dad." At this time, Yi Xiaotian was already worried. After looking for Yi Xiu for a long time, he couldn't find where he hid his food and drink. He said in silence, "Where is it? Tell Dad quickly. This time, it's terrible. Now almost everyone is hoarding goods. Supermarkets are almost empty. Money may not buy things. What you hid before, take it out quickly. Let's go to the shelter first." "I won't go." Upon regaining his senses, Yi Xiu shook his head and said to him, "The shelter must be overcrowded now, and even if there is food, if a major disaster really happens, the most terrifying thing may not be the disaster, but the human heart." That's right, in the survival of the apocalypse, food is the most scarce thing, and killing for food is also possible. I advise you not to go either, and my mom, tip them all to stay at home. Are you crazy, kid? Upon hearing these words, Yi Xiaotian was somewhat confused and looked at Yi Xiu with a surprised expression. Why is this kid going crazy today? But Yi Xiu will definitely not let these few leave, and he cannot tell them his refuge now. Otherwise, with his father's kind personality, he will definitely let neighbors and various friends in. When the time comes, he is really afraid of being stabbed by his neighbors in the end, so it's only when the disaster is approaching. He will bring his parents and sister in. Dad, do you have time to reinforce our storage room? I think it's also quite safe here. Upon reading this, Yi Xiu thought for a moment and said, if Dad trusts me, then stay and I will ensure your safety. Success. However, to his surprise, Yi Xiaotian responded decisively upon hearing these words, as he had always been at the end of his life, unsure of his path, and a village full of hidden willows and bright flowers. And he also felt that there might be too many people in the shelter, which was not a good thing. It was better to stay at home, so he walked out and shouted, Tip, tell your mother not to tidy up and move all the food into the basement. Let's stay here for a few days before we talk. From above, quickly came the sound of a well-behaved Tip and the nagging voice of my mother. This left Yi Xiu stunned for a moment, feeling a bit confused. He agreed too readily. But the next second, his heart was covered with warmth. Perhaps only parents and sisters are the ones who believe in themselves the most, and I can also trust everything in them. Returning to the shelter, Yi Xiu placed all the computer equipment that had just been delivered and prepared many cables, wires, and network cables. I also installed more than 10 cameras near my big house, observing various situations around. Before the upgrade of the base and research base is completed. These are definitely the best devices for observing the surrounding environment. Of course, a large number of solar panels cannot be missing. After all, the equipment in the research base is too high-end and not suitable for ordinary energy use. At 12 o'clock in the evening. There are only 4 days left until the countdown to the catastrophe. Lying in bed, Yi Xiu was still paying attention to the news footage transmitted by satellite TV and news hosts. Almost the world is paying attention to various strange events that happened inexplicably. And what is played online are also scenes of various supermarkets being quickly sold out. In China, it is quite orderly, but because supermarkets are no longer restocking, and local processors are crazily raising prices due to this, many essential goods are out of stock. Not to mention food, almost every time the country notifies them to seek refuge, they rob everything in just a few hours. After playing this scene, the news was broadcasted to the vicinity of the deep pit that appeared in Huaihai City. There are already law enforcement officers stationed there, and scientists have already arrived to direct workers to study the specific situation. There is nothing to be gained. A beautiful female scientist wearing glasses and a white coat said live to the camera, after our comprehensive research, the deep pits in this collapsed area are very strange. We have explored about 3,000 meters, but there is still no meaning to the bottom. This is the deepest level we can reach so far. Of course, we also dropped a reconnaissance equipment before, and when we infiltrated about 20,000 meters deep, the signal was interrupted, suspected to be damaged. In short, this is a very strange thing. There are about 80 deep pits in China, and globally, there are as many as 2,000, covering all parts of the country. This is a strange phenomenon that has never occurred before. To ensure the safety of citizens, I suggest that everyone go to a shelter for refuge, which will soon be stationed by the military. Of course, there is no need to panic too much. Perhaps it is just a product of crustal movement, so following the government's arrangements is the key at present. At this moment it is unknown how many netizens stayed up all night, paying attention to these strange events. Therefore, upon hearing the answers, they were also engaged in various discussions. The end is coming. What exactly is inside? It shouldn't be some underground creature, right? The person is in the shelter, please decrypt, +1. We are already in the shelter, seeking protection. January 1st, 2021, is definitely the end of the world, and there have been forums discussing this matter before. On the other side of the United States, isn't it said that a monster was hunted and killed? Why hasn't there been any movement now? I have a premonition that this is likely to be an apocalyptic disaster for all humanity. Obviously, this global disaster has begun to cause panic among global citizens. P.S. New book release, Seeking Flowers, Evaluation Votes, Seeking Support. I hope everyone can support me, and the author will work hard to update. Feilu's novel, Fei Wants You to Look Good. Chapter 5. Countdown to the Fourth Day of Terror. New book release Seeking Support. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yi Xiu also searched online about the post-apocalyptic disaster. Many social media platforms have established relevant topics. Compared to Barrage, it seems a bit crazy here. Almost the vast majority of netizens hope that the end of the world will come soon, because they have had enough of a peaceful life. But for such a scene, Yi Xiu could only shake his head slightly and had little interest in paying attention. These people may not know what terrifying scenes they will face. To ensure contingency, prepare everything necessary for the post-apocalyptic period and avoid any omissions. Yi Xiu stood up again and went to the shelter to check everything. The 50 square meter storage room is filled with food with a long shelf life, including 20 boxes of instant noodles, 30 boxes of mineral water, 6 bags of rice weighing up to 20 kilograms, 6 bags of flour weighing up to 20 kilograms, as well as 10 boxes of cured meat, 10 boxes of ham sausages, 10 boxes of bread, 12 boxes of milk, and 10 large barrels of alcohol. After all, industrial alcohol is the key to disinfection, and it can play a very good role in both medical and lighting. These are enough time for the first half of the year in the apocalypse. And there are also underground water pipeline connections here, so there is no need to worry about water interruption. As for the other side, there are various clothes and daily necessities piled up, such as shampoo, shower gel, and shower supplies. There are also 10 boxes of candles, hundreds of lighters and more than 10 boxes of matches, dozens of flashlights, 5 boxes of ordinary lithium batteries, totaling nearly 1,000. And dozens of backup power sources are also prepared. Of course, Yi Xiu originally wanted to buy some generators, but unfortunately, in this situation, there are not many purchasing channels, and the prices are also too expensive. So we can only temporarily use backup power to survive. These things can be said to be used in the most difficult times. Glancing at the boxes of survival items in the shelter, Yi Xiu carefully sorted out the gaps and found that there was still a lack of medicine. In the survival of the disaster, medicine is also an important item. Therefore, he used paper and pen to record not only drugs, but also a series of things such as oil. Because oil can generate electricity through electric motors, it serves as a backup power source in the event of abnormal power supply. In a disaster, electrical energy is too important because the system records that there will be a period of solar energy consumption in the future, and solar panels will not be able to function. In addition, there will be changes in the ground, which will destroy the solar panels. He needs to consider all of these. So, after the record is almost done. Early the next morning, Yi Xiu went out and continued to make crazy purchases. However, when he left, he was still stunned for a moment. Because outside at this time, almost all kinds of vehicles are causing congestion in the city, and almost all the surrounding shops have been snatched clean, and the vast majority of them have also been closed. Some supermarkets, even though they still have daily necessities, are locked up. Security is watching over there, causing dissatisfaction among many citizens. Obviously, these shrewd merchants have realized the importance of food. In the distance, little sister Chen Xiao kept shouting in the distance. "Oh, open the door, there's clearly something inside." The security personnel said coldly, "Sorry, the supermarket is now closed. Please don't crowd and go back first." Someone shouted, "Everyone is busy going to the shelter now. If you don't buy anything, how can you get there?" "That's right, I've already run several supermarkets and they've all been robbed. Now the entire city center, only your family has stock." Chen Xiao also joined in the crowd to liven up. Yi Xiu walked over to inquire about the situation. "Hey, it's you, Xiao Xiu." Turning his head, Chen Xiao greeted Yi Xiu happily. Yi Xiu felt a bit helpless. This girl is still quite nervous. However, he still inquired about the situation. It turned out that one morning, in the collapsed area of Huaihai, through a detector, a deep pit tens of thousands of meters was discovered, and there were actually signs of biological activity. This news was not concealed, and the entire broadcast was live. So there will definitely be a large number of mysterious creatures invading Earth this time. Everyone is busy purchasing things and then taking refuge in the official shelter established. But now, almost the entire Huaihai city, all large supermarkets have been snatched up, and those small convenience stores and private owners have long closed and secretly transported their goods away. At present, only this large shopping mall has a large amount of inventory in the entire Huaihai city center. So, everyone wants to go in and purchase things. And, did you know this morning that in the collapsed area over there are already troops and tanks passing by? This is the first time in my impression that tanks have entered the city. Chen Xiao exaggeratedly said. "Are all the tanks here?" Yi Xiu was taken aback by these words, and then secretly sighed. Indeed, they had already attracted attention. However, this is a good thing. Because facing attacks from underground creatures, the military is the most powerful weapon. But if the army can't hold on, Yi Xiu shook his head, dispelling the terrifying thought, and then looked again at Chen Xiao, who was about to join in the fun. He asked, "What do you plan to do now?" This girl is her neighbor. Growing up together since childhood. My parents are out of town, living with my grandparents. So this time she came to purchase things herself. What else can we do? Chen Xiao shrugged decisively when asked, "Let's take my grandparents to the shelter first, even though we still have some shortcomings. Food is very important. But Yi Xiu didn't think so. Instead, he said, perhaps food is the most dangerous. Why? Chen Xiao was taken aback when he said this. Yi Xiu calmly explained, if this is really a major disaster, do you think you, a little girl, can withstand it in a situation of food scarcity? Yes, Chen Xiao suddenly felt that it made sense, but she was also a carefree girl who didn't take it seriously and said, perhaps this is just a brief refuge. Don't worry, the country will help us. That's right. Yi Xiu was taken aback when he said this. Yes, the country is still reliable. At least in recent years, any disaster that comes first is handled by the country's reserves, and the military is also the most trustworthy. Unlike those abroad, when it comes to critical moments, there will be major chaos. Therefore, Yi Xiu smiled and nodded, saying, then you go over first. We can contact you if there is anything else. Okay. Chen Xiao nodded repeatedly and then ran to continue following and coaxing. After reading this, Yi Xiu knew that procurement was hopeless. But he is not in a hurry, because when the end of the world falls, this place will become a ruin. Then money will be paper. After thinking for a moment, he took the spare wireless camera from the car and drove to the collapsed area. This will be an underground biological invasion exit. Although Yi Xiu learned about these creatures through the system in advance, to be honest, he was not sure what they looked like. So, install a wireless camera here to fully record the first wave of underground biological attacks and gain an understanding of them. It is very necessary. P.S. New book release seeking support, hoping everyone can provide some inspiration and data support. The author is working hard to update. Finally, a weak question, has anyone read it? Feilu's novel, Fei Wants You to Look Good. Chapter 6. City-wide lockdown, new book released, seeking support. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Upon arriving at the collapsed area, one could see that it had already been taken over by the military, with nearly 1,000 people and more than a dozen tanks. The dark metal barrels emitted a terrifying deterrent. In addition, there are more than 20 armored vehicles, including 30 military trucks, where the commander is in conversation with researchers, and journalists are conducting interviews. Above the collapsed area, countless citizens are gathered to watch and join in the fun. That's right, the nature of Chinese people to watch excitement never changes. However, because it has always been live streaming, the government has also turned a blind eye to these onlookers. Yi Xiu also took this opportunity to enter. Then I found several good places and installed cameras. These are all aimed at the entrance of the cave, and he also installed a panoramic camera on the high-rise building. You can observe all the movements here at the first time. Because Yi Xiu needs to record the shapes of underground creatures as they emerge, in order to prepare adequately for future hunting. After completing these tasks, he just clapped his hands and left. As he drove away from the collapsed area, the voice of the host also came from the radio broadcast. At present, large shelters have been established in China with military stationed. Residents from all over the city are requested to seek refuge in these shelters. This time is different from the past. The official has detected signs of biological activity underground. Please make sure to follow the government's suggestions in order to reduce the danger. According to reports, many cities such as Kyoto, Modu, and Gandu have experienced deep-seated biological activities, and several cities have begun to engage in fighting, smashing, and looting. The local government has sent troops to suppress them. According to reports from Rice Media, the capital has released official footage of capturing deep-sea behemoths, and Rice Media claims that the research institute has exposed them as mutated whales with limbs that have been affected by nuclear radiation. Damn it! Upon hearing these words, Yi Xiu felt a bit angry. It's already this time, and media is still hiding the truth. Mutated whale. Can mutated whales sink a warship? Sure enough, rice media is not trustworthy. At this moment, I'm still hiding my privacy. But isn't this just human nature? There are already signs of biological activity, indicating that the time of the outbreak is approaching. When he got home, he would take the things out of the car and deliver them to the storage room. At this moment, both parents and Tips are busy. Dad is busy moving down the household items. And the Tip brought his little dog Sprite and kitten Coca-Cola into the basement. Mom is transplanting vegetables from the yard, including some chickens and ducks in the apocalypse. Vegetables are also super important. Yishio also helps move furniture and so on. As for the neighbors around him, he also noticed that many of them had hurriedly packed up their things and then drove away, obviously heading to a shelter. Of course, there are also some people who have not left. But instead, I choose to move things to the basement like myself. But it's just the basement where the leak was picked up. To be honest, it is impossible to withstand the first wave of attack. Yishio suddenly felt a hint of compassion. But in just an instant, it disappeared and disappeared. When disasters can expose people's hearts the most, do not try to test them. Otherwise, I will die very miserably. Another busy day. There are still 3 days left until the countdown on January 1st, 2021. Yishio and his family have all moved into the basement. We are using satellite TV to watch the live news broadcast. Now, there are no TV dramas or variety shows online. All of them are news broadcast. The purpose is to make everyone aware of the importance of this disaster as soon as possible. In fact, it goes without saying that everyone knows that there may really be a major disaster this time. On the internet, everything is a disaster event, and fear has begun to spread. And the live broadcasts are all about large-scale migrations, where everyone, with their families, is taken into a shelter, looking for their own place to sit down. The air is already filled with the smell of doom. Everyone is very obedient to the government's arrangements. Those who should take refuge should take shelter. In just 1 day, the entire city has been evacuated. Countdown to the second day. During the day, the streets were already empty, and the entire city seemed like an empty city, with almost everyone seeking refuge. Tanks, armored vehicles, and even helicopters are patrolling outside. Occasionally passing by some civilians, they were quickly taken to shelters by the military. The entire city has been taken over by the military. In the sky, countless birds quickly skimmed away, and on the ground, various animals were also migrating, rare ones taking to the streets. Crows of crows landed in groups on rooftops or utility poles. As if smelling the smell of death. Even military soldiers felt an unprecedented sense of oppression, but they still ignored the abnormal phenomena of animals, fully armed, and bravely went to the front line. P.S. Seeking flowers, evaluating votes, hoping everyone can provide some data support. Feilu's novel, Fei Wants You to Look Good. Chapter 7. Cataclysm comes, first wave of Doomsday clearing, new book releases for support. You are listening at novelfull.audio. December 30th. Huaihai City has become an empty city. The shelter is full of people. There are also many people in the basement of their villa who have not left. Everyone no longer dares to go out. Just staring at the TV at home, watching the Deep Pit live broadcast. December 31st. The day is quiet and there is no change. Dad was not very confident, so he reinforced his own defense here and set up many traps outside, such as beast traps and some crossbows and arrows. And my mother has already started planning for a long-term struggle. Cultivated crops such as wheat and vegetables. At 11:59 p.m. Everyone put down their work. Then I sat in front of the TV. A family of 4 stared straight at the big screen. The Tip nervously grasped Yishio's hand. Finally, the bell at midnight rings. And at this moment, an accident occurred. With a loud bang. The basement suddenly experienced a power outage, creating darkness. Ah. In this scene, the unprepared Tip immediately hugged Yi Xiu. Dad's voice also became tense. What's going on? Mom exclaimed, shouldn't it be because the wires were dug out? At the same time, at the ventilation opening of the basement, there were clearly many sounds coming from outside. What's going on? There's a power outage. Do you have electricity at home? No, what's going on? I'll check outside and see if there's a problem with the cables. Don't go, it's very dangerous outside now. Ah. Suddenly, accompanied by a late-night scream. Let Yi Xiu sit up from the sofa all at once. No, it's already started. What's going on? Dad Yi Xiaotian, who comes from a veteran background, also noticed something was wrong. It seems that someone outside has been attacked. But Yi Xiu didn't talk nonsense. He got up and walked inside with a flashlight, saying, "Follow me." The Tip hugged his beagle in fear, and the little dog was already trembling with fear. Bang! However, as soon as the words fell, I heard the basement door outside, as if it was being hit by something, which scared the Tip and made it scream. Yi Xiu's heart sank and he didn't say anything. He quickly took his family into the shelter. Then, it seemed as if something huge had rushed in from behind. Fortunately, the door was closed at the last moment. As soon as the titanium alloy gate weighing nearly 10,000 pounds is closed, even the cannons cannot open. Not to mention, there was not even a slightest movement outside. But Dad had already seen the dark shadow, and a cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Damn it, what kind of thing is that? But when Mom breathed a sigh of relief, she instead focused on this luxurious shelter and widened her beautiful eyes, saying, "Xiu, what's this place?" Dad just realized it. Looking at the luxurious underground shelter, I am already confused. Did you do this? What I did? Yi Xiu felt that if he said it was his own doing, they wouldn't believe it. But he had no time to explain and only said seriously, "There are some things that cannot be said clearly in a few words, but I know you will believe me, right?" This statement stunned both Dad and Mom. Then the two of them smiled. Yes, they trusted their son unconditionally. Since my son doesn't want to say anything, then they won't ask. Upon seeing this, Yi Xiu felt a warm surge in his heart. At this moment, the father said, "Look at the computer equipment here, can you check the external situation?" All right. Yi Xiu also wanted to know how it was outside, so he quickly came to the computer. Because there is a reserve power source and solar power generation here. So there's no need to worry about power outages. Now, just check if the internet is down. But fortunately, turn on the computer. Discovered, can access the internet. This brought joy to Yi Xiu's heart. But when it searched for live broadcasts about Huaihai City, it found that the broadcasts had been interrupted. How could it be like this? Dad comes from a retired military background, and seeing this scene, he already realized something was wrong. Yi Xiu already knew what had happened, but he still didn't believe in evil. So I quickly opened the screen of the wireless camera I had placed there. Go back to midnight. It was discovered that in almost an instant, a huge monster bird with wings on its back appeared in the deep well of the night, soaring into the sky. Caught the army off guard. But almost at the same time, thousands of them all rushed out like black clouds. Then the army's shells began to gather wildly. In just over a decade, out of the 9 cameras I installed, 5 immediately went black, indicating that they had been blown up. The only excellent camera is placed on a nearby building, facing thousands of square meters around. Discovered through the camera. The speed of those flying birds is extremely fast. And it seems to be organized and regular, with some directly attacking the troops and others quickly dispersing to avoid being attacked by concentrated fire. Then comes various artillery scenes. But there are too many monsters. Thousands surge out every second. In just 1 minute, the sky was filled with scattered strange birds. In the blink of an eye, it covered a large area of the city. And the army, in the initial exchange of fire, quickly retreated. It only took less than a minute. Half of it has already been annihilated. The remaining troops are still desperately guarding. It's not even a match for that endless monster bird. Watching the large army being defeated. Suddenly, I saw a huge flying bird rushing towards the screen. Scared the tip and let out a scream. Then I saw that the computer screen went black and the last camera was also damaged. Then the signal is interrupted. This is currently the entire 1-minute process outside. P.S. Seeking flowers and evaluation tickets. I hope everyone can support me and provide some data. The author will work hard to update it. Ensure that there are more than 5 tickets per day, and add additional updates for others. 3 things to do when reading. Read, collect, and reward. Chapter 8. Upgrading Shelter Again and Manufacturing Combat Drones, new book release for support. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Signal interruption. The living room is silent. In just 1 minute, a regiment's strength was almost instantly engulfed. Those monsters are too terrifying. If everything comes out, I believe that as long as it's dawn, the entire city will be occupied. Tomorrow, this place may become ruins. Fortunately, there is also a shelter here. The tip's big eyes were filled with fear, holding the beagle and looking weakly at Yi Xiu. Brother, what should we do? Yi Xiu was not worried, because he had long known that a disaster would come, but he just wanted to know what kind of creature it was. So far, the harvest has been minimal. So he decided to observe for a few days and said, "These days, let's not go out anymore. It's very safe here." That's right. Dad also agreed. He looked at the luxurious underground shelter and smiled. It's very safe here. It's much better than the official shelter. These monsters should be active in the city these days. Let's see what's going on. Nod obediently, and the tip knows that this is currently the only way. Although Qin Yuner, the mother, was very scared, she comforted the little girl and chuckled, "It's okay. We have a lot of food here, and it's not a problem to stay for 6 months. Oh, by the way, Xiao Xiu, I also prepared some vegetables, grains, and seeds. There should be a place to grow them here." Of course. Yi Xiu nodded, he had already anticipated this problem. So we left a planting base of 50 square meters, and there was no problem planting various plants. This is an alternative greenhouse. Quickly, the night passed and the 4 of them slept together without separation. Even though it was safe here, fear was the first element. The next morning, Yi Xiu found that all the computer networks had lost their signals. That is to say, we have lost contact with the outside world now. Of course, he believes that this is not just the case of his own family, but also that all the networks and cables in this city have been completely destroyed. The entire city is probably in panic. However, he is not worried and still lives in an underground shelter. All the necessary things are here, staying for 6 months is not a problem. On the 3rd day, everything was safe and sound. The 4th day was safe and sound. Until the 5th night, suddenly, there was a collision sound outside. Bang! Bang! Accompanied by a series of impacts, Yi Xiu was not worried about being knocked open because it was a titanium alloy super strong door weighing tens of thousands of pounds. So it won't be much longer. Those monsters give up and leave. This made the tip sigh of relief, and her beautiful big eyes were filled with fear. Dad is usually carefree. But at this moment, she also took on the real responsibility of being the pillar of support, comforting the little girl. Yi Xiu looked in his eyes, although he didn't speak. But I'm also afraid that one day, this thing won't hold up. So currently, the most important thing is to upgrade shelters and research centers. After taking a look, I still have 110 upgrade points left. so Yi Xiu chose to come to the research base. After scanning the identity and entering, open the research project at the research base. Combat drone. Level 3 required. 10 kilograms pure iron. 1 kilogram copper. 0.002 kilograms gold. Equipment weapon. Requires 2 nuclear energy crystals. Research base. Level 1. Research projects. Bullets, Desert Eagles, reconnaissance drones. Upgrade to the next level. Need to upgrade to 20 points. May I ask if you want to upgrade? Yes. Seeing the attributes of the research base, Yi Xiu did not hesitate to make a decision. He now needs a combat drone because everything he does now requires an upgrade point, but his daily upgrade value of 10 points is not enough. Therefore, it is necessary to hunt down underground creatures and obtain more upgrade points. Of course, he won't go out on his own, that's a fool. So, he tried to see if he could use combat drones to hunt. Ding, congratulations on the successful upgrade of the host. Name. Research base. Level. 2, area. 200 square meters. Research projects. Desert Eagle, bullets, reconnaissance drones. AK-47 automatic rifle. M4A1 automatic rifle, miniature reconnaissance machine. Upgrade to the next level. Upgrade point. 30, may I ask if you want to continue upgrading? Yes. Yi Xiu chose to upgrade again. Quickly, I heard the system prompt and saw that the research base had undergone another change, doubling in size. There are already 400 square meters. On the basis of the original scientific research. Added combat drones. Unlocked projects, nuclear drones, helicopters, fighter jets, tanks, submarines, warships, independent satellite equipment, portals, space gates, and more. Of course, Yi Xiu also understands that these are still far from his current self. Therefore, after the upgrade is completed. First, we chose to manufacture combat drones. This is a type of micro-drone similar to reconnaissance drones, but it adds various attack methods on the original basis. At critical moments, it can even activate the nuclear power system inside, causing a terrifying killing force of nearly 100 square meters. However, the cost of a combat drone is still very high. On the basis of no materials. 8 energy crystals are required to exchange. Add 2 more attack nuclear supplements. A combat drone requires a full 10 energy crystals. That's 10 upgrade points. And currently, Yi Xiu still has 60 points left. So after thinking about it, he decided to exchange 2 planes directly. The remaining 40 points will be used to upgrade the shelter. Name. Shelter. Level. 3, area. 400 square meters. Owning architecture. Research base. Upgrade to the next level. Requires an upgrade of 40 points. After upgrade. The shelter has been expanded to 800 square meters, and the titanium alloy iron door has been upgraded to a double-layer titanium alloy iron door, with a thickness of 1.2 meters. The wall thickness has been increased to 1.2 meters, and the foundation has sunk 10 meters again, with an independent elevator. May I ask if you want to upgrade? Upgrade. Yi Xiu did not hesitate to choose yes. The next second, Yi Xiu saw a blue blueprint in front of him. Heron is currently the planning map of the entire shelter. But the difference is that now, in addition to expanding the area, it can also be expanded up and down, which means it can be transformed into an underground building. Therefore, after thinking for a moment, he chose to continue building further. In this way, in addition to living on the upper floor, there is an additional second floor. And the third layer is the research base. After completing these tasks, he finally calmed down. Even if all the monsters attack together this time, they probably wouldn't be able to break through this 1.2 meter thick titanium alloy double-layer iron door. So now, with drones, it's time for me to take a look at the outside world. P.S. Just a weak question, is there anyone else watching? Can you give me a response? The author feels like he's playing alone again. 3 things to do when reading. Read, collect, and reward. Chapter 9. On this day of disaster, no one can save, new book released for support. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this time, Huaihai City. After experiencing an underground biological attack on the 5th day, the whole city has turned into a ruin. Everywhere are ruins and broken walls, damaged cars, broken power poles, and dilapidated houses. Even some hard buildings were completely destroyed by the attack. It's like locusts passing through. The whole city has turned into ruins. Just like experiencing a world war. This is too cruel. Seeing this scene through the drone surprised Yi Xiu and made him shudder inwardly. Fortunately, I have a shelter, otherwise I would not have been able to avoid the first wave of apocalyptic settlement. However, it's not over yet. Because this combat drone is a product of research at the System Research Base, it is even more outstanding than the world's most advanced drone fleet. It not only relies on energy for endurance, but can even remotely control a range of nearly 100 kilometers. In addition, there is reconnaissance capability for drones. So it can clearly thread back all the images. Therefore, when Yi Xiu remotely controlled the drone to go to the nearby official shelter established. And then it was discovered. This so-called shelter has been breached. In addition to scattered food and clothes, there are also patches of blood inside. There are no living creatures left. Obviously, this shelter has been breached by underground creatures. And all the people inside no longer survived. Not only this shelter, but also other places. They were also breached. Even Yi Xiu is not sure how many people are still alive in this city. Of course, he also discovered a strange phenomenon. Because during the daytime search, we didn't even see the existence of those underground creatures. Why didn't he come out during the day, but there were movements at night? After thinking for a moment, Yi Xiu communicated with the system in his heart and asked, "System, can you check the characteristics of these creatures?" Soon, the system said, the host can use a research base to study biological detectors and scan various habits and characteristics of any organism clearly. Oh, and this one. Yi Xiu became interested. So he returned to the research base and continued his research. I just realized that a biosensor requires 10 energy crystals to be processed and synthesized. And currently, I have nothing. So for safety reasons, Yi Xiu decided to continue hiding in the basement. After all, the food here is enough to last for 6 months. And those underground creatures cannot enter temporarily. Wait until the evening. Yi Xiu dispatched combat drones again. As soon as he flew out, Yi Xiu saw huge strange birds swarming through the dense sky. Like locusts passing through, devouring the entire city. At night, there were also some scattered gunshots. Obviously, the surviving troops are making the final resistance. Because the reminder of the drone was very small, only 7 centimeters, and it was controlled by the brain, it was very sensitive, so Yi Xiu was not worried at all. He continued to patrol the condition of the suburban villa complex. Suddenly, in the third row of villas not far away. Ah! A scream echoed through the night sky. Yi Xiu immediately manipulated the drone to look over. It was discovered that a seemingly young woman in her 20s was screaming and running away. Behind it, there are also 2 creatures resembling wild wolves. Unlike wild wolves, these creatures are as rough as rocks, but their eyes emit a bloodthirsty light. This left Yi Xiu somewhat speechless. Nima. There are more than one type of underground creatures. Even if it's flying in the sky, there are still people running on the ground. The woman was already scared to the point of going crazy, constantly running away. But how can humans compare to such a four-legged beast? I was caught up before I could walk much further. The woman was so frightened that she stumbled and fell. As she watched the fierce beast grow up with a bloodthirsty mouth, a look of despair had already appeared on her delicate and pretty face. Good opportunity. But at this moment, Yi Xiu suddenly seized the opportunity and used the combat drone to directly fire 2 bullets. Unexpectedly, 2 bullets locked onto the monster. Surprisingly, it only emitted sparks and was not directly shot. Instead, it ignited the monster's ferocity. Launch another attack. Not dead. Yi Xiu was taken aback by this scene. The skin of these monsters is so hard. But he believes that these monsters have weaknesses. So he continued to operate the drone and quickly circled behind it. 2 miniature bombs were fired again. With a loud bang. Those 2 monsters were killed by the explosion. Ding, congratulations to the host for killing underground creatures. You have obtained an upgrade value of *2. Soon, I heard the system prompt. This made Yi Xiu think he heard it wrong. You should know that a micro-combat drone can only carry 2 micro-bombs, and these 2 things are worth 2 upgrade points. But now, after killing 2 underground creatures, only 2 points are given. In total, I didn't catch anything myself. And it's not just that. As the explosion sounded here, the strange birds in the sky also noticed something unusual and rushed towards us with their chirping. The woman lying on the ground thought she had received a savior. But as soon as I looked up, I saw more strange birds attacking. So he quickly pleaded with the drone, "Please, help me. I'll give you everything you want, please help me." But Yi Xiu did not hesitate. If the drone was discovered by those strange birds and tracked all the way to his shelter. Although he admits that this shelter is indestructible and difficult to break through. I don't want to risk my life either. So quickly manipulate the drone to leave quickly. Then, he heard the screams of women coming from behind, accompanied by countless strange birds swarming in, and in the blink of an eye, there was no sound. P.S. Seeking flowers, evaluating votes, hoping everyone can provide some data support, the author will work hard to update. 3 things to do when reading. Read, collect, and reward.